Okay, so let's take a look at how you can install 11t static site generator. So the first thing that we are going to do is go into directory where I have created this 11t folder, and I'm going to open Windows terminal. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use npm install and make this global install, so -g space then @11t then /11t. Okay, now hit enter and this should start the installation process for 11t. Okay, so it is throwing few notice on me for updating npm. Okay, now once the installation is done, you will get the message that package is added. So what we can do is, next thing you would be typing in 11t then /help to check whether it is installed, which shows you some sort of help commands. Okay, let me. Okay, so if you see this set of commands, then that means 11t is installed on your particular folder on Windows. Now next thing is we are going to open Visual Studio Code, and we will be opening this particular folder as a new project folder. So choose this from file, right, select the folder, and it should show you that folder open in Visual Studio Code. Okay, can remove this welcome message. Next thing, we will create a new file. Let's name this index.md. This will be our markdown page. Okay, so here I'm going to use heading 3. So for that, let's say I'm going to add a message. Right, save this. Now come back to your terminal. Now here what we have to do is we will have to simply type in 11t, and you can directly serve this or simply run 11t, and it will convert that index.md into your index.html. Now if I type in 11t and use /serve, it should start a web server, right? And we can check that on localhost 8080, right? So control and click. That should open our web server with a message for that particular markdown page. As you can see, this is the message that we wrote in our Visual Studio Code that is now on screen. So we'll learn how to create 11t website with simple one markdown page. Okay, so now next thing we will take a look at the layout. So for that we will go to Visual Studio Code, and here at the top what we will do is we will simply create _includes folder. Inside this we will create a file. Let's name this mylayout.njk. Okay, you can also use .liquid if you want to use liquid engine, or .md if you want to use markdown. So here what we will do is we will make sure to write a title, because for that particular template we'll want to have same title all over. Okay, right? If you want any other title, you can go with that, or you can even override later. I will show you how to do that. Right, next thing is making sure that we will be adding HTML code that will be common for this template. So this is the snippet. I will just paste it. If you have embed, you can use that and get that here. Okay, so next thing, make sure you have title, and also within body you will have content set to save. Right, save this. Next thing, what we will have to do is we will have to create file. Let's name this post.md. okay, now within post.md, what we can do is we will go for layout, my layout dot njk, right, and then we will have title feed1. okay, so it will take that feed1 title and it will send it here. okay, if you want any other content, you can also get that, like say this is feed1 post. You will be getting feed1 updates here, right? Okay, so what we have done with the layout is we created a mylayout.njk, and when we created a new post or page, we added this layout over here so that it should take this title and content and it will put up for that particular page. Okay, you will also notice that our command prompt is showing the update. Okay, it has managed to add index.html within that particular sites folder where you have this post directory created, and your post.md is now converted into index.html within that directory. Okay, so let's go over here, reload, right, and then we will add post, and here you see feed1. Notice that you will find your index.md needs to have title as well, so we will go back, reload, and it's back. Then you have your post where you see the layout is taken from that, and you have created another post within 11t with a common layout. Okay, so next thing we will take a look at if we can chain our layout. So one layout being called from another, we will take a look at how to do that. We'll create another file. Let's name this main layout ngk. Right, now within this particular file, what we will do is we will call our my layout. Okay, so layout equals to my layout.ngk. right, now next thing would be we will be adding a style. Let's say main style. That would be adding color, right? So we will make it orange, or if you want, you can go for green. Then within here, what we will do is we will add content safe, right, and then we will close the main tag. Right, now what we will do is we will go back to this post.md and change this to main layout and see whether this title changes to the one within main layout. Okay, so we'll take a look at that. Here you see your feed1 is turned green. So you get the idea how to change one layout from another. So what we have done here is within includes we created this main layout which calls for my layout. However, it also changes the color of that particular page into green. So when we call for main layout.ngk, it will render everything green. Okay, so now we will take a look at how you can design the home page. Now here what if you have multiple pages or posts that you can list on this particular home page? So what we'll do is we will come here and let's change this to home page, right, or simply home. Let's see if it updates, right? So now next thing is we will be adding layout to this particular page. So what we'll do is we will use layout, right, and here we will call for mylayout.ngk, right? Now next thing we will do is we will also be adding tag to our post, right? So here we will use tags and name this post, right? Save this. Okay, now next thing, coming back to index.md, here what we will do is we will remove this text and we will try to add the code that could be called as a feed. So we will simply use h1 tag, right, call for feed, right, and here what we will do is we will add within this percentage dash for post in collections dot post dash percentage, right? Now next thing would be to have a list, right, because we want to add one post after another based on how it gets available, right? So currently we only have post.md, so only one link will be added, right? So here what we'll do is we'll add post.url. Okay, now we will also be adding one more, which is going to be post.data dot title, right? And then what we will do is we will close our anchor link, right? Make sure that your post URL and post URL is properly written. Now next thing would be to also closing your link, right? So if you find any error over here, make sure to correct everything. So I will go through that. Okay, later if there are any errors within this particular syntax, we will take a look at it. Now to end this particular, we will have to use percentage and then info. Okay, few changes I have made is I also added title post 1, then coming back to index.md I made sure to remove those spaces between. Okay, and okay, so this collection should be smaller. Also I managed to remove the extra greater than sign over here, added another list, also removed a space here. Okay, and now let's take a look at how it looks. Okay, so here you see the post one for our post, and if you click on it, it will take us to this particular page. So you get the idea how to link between your posts in form of collection. Okay, so what we can do right now is we will see how to add date to this particular home page, and we will add some date next to the feed post, right? So what we'll do is we'll go to index.md, and within this loop for our collection, let's say if I want to add something in italic that says written, and then here what we'll do is we will use post.date. Right, now what we'll do is we'll save this so that our page gets reloaded, and here you see our post has a date. Now considering I'm in GMT plus 5:30, which is Indian Standard Time, it will add a respective post date for this post one. Okay, you can also add the date to each of the pages if you want at the bottom. So you get the idea how to add the post date. So let's take a look at how you can style your 11T website. So first thing to do here is, let's go to Visual Studio Code, and within the top root, first thing would be to create a folder CSS. Now the second is select our top folder, make sure to create .11t.js, right? And within your CSS folder, make sure to create your style.css. Okay, so let's see if I create a body with font family of, let's say, sans serif, right? And I want that to appear here, which won't be any different than the current one because default is set to sans serif, so we won't notice much change. But if you keep on adding additional style, that will be reflected in our 11T page, right? So next thing would be to go to .11t.js, and here type in module dot exports equals to, let's say, a function, right? And within that function we are going to use 11t config, right? And inside that we are going to use 11t config dot add pass through, right? So add pass through copy, we are going to set our CSS folder, right? If you have any other path, make sure to add that as well. So for example, if you have like something like CSS, then some specific folder, and then that style sheet, you can add that particular folder path here, right? So next thing would be to go to main layout and check for our my layout here, because we have linked to that. So within head, what we'll do is we will add our style sheet. So let's see, link relative to style sheet, then href equals to, let's say, css style.css, and let's send it here, right? So make sure to add this, and then check if your browser loads, and if you have added any specific style, that should update your page as well. So if you want to do further style sheet editing or use custom theme, then you may have to look for that further, but this gets you pretty much set up with 11T's basic website. Okay, so I want to add custom data at the bottom of this particular page, and I want it to globally appear. Okay, so what I can do is I can go to my 11T folder here. Now I can create one folder name underscore data, right? So this particular underscore data will be available globally, right? So here we will create a file named site.json, and within which we can simply add, let's say, particular value, right? So whenever we call for this author.name, it should return with this value, right? So if we go to our main layout, we can find that it will return the content. Meanwhile, our my layout, it should return the value that we want, right? So what we will do is, within this paragraph, I can add, let's say, created by, then add site third.name and save this, right? So my layout will be called my main layout, and then it should appear under this index, right? So here you see created by mesh, right? Again, you see this in all the pages that we have created. So if you want to create something that returns with global value, what you will do is you will create underscore data folder, then add particular JSON files that you want to fetch value from, and then call them out in your layout.